Hey everybody, James Sandmore back here with another video for the Maine Morgue. Again, right off the bat, I want to apologize. I'm a little under the weather with a sore throat and just kind of a chest cold. So that's why my voice is a little bit different this week. This week's video, or one of them, I do a couple videos a week. I'm going to rank the Friday the 13th series. As you can see, I'm wearing my Jason pendant and my Jason ring for the video. I usually wear these just about every day. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just wear the chain by itself because it's really heavy. I put this off, this video, this ranking video, for a long time because this is one of the hardest franchises for me to rank personally as a fan. I love all the films, but the changing makeup effects, the masks, and the storyline, it's a little hard to follow at times. Um, I love, I love these films. I really do. Some of these picks, again, aren't going to sit well with some of you, and that's fine. I've been getting a lot of emails from you guys about some of my picks and things like that. So I love talking to you guys, but I'm not going to engage in arguments with anybody. So these are my picks. This is how I feel about the Friday the 13th franchise. And I'm going to start the countdown. Diet Pepsi. Yummy. At number 12, I have Jason Goes to Hell. This should not surprise anybody at all. This movie, plain and simple, is hard to watch. While I love the concept of this movie, I feel that it falls in the category of Halloween Resurrection. Great concept, but the execution is what makes this film suffer. Number 11 is Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Vancouver. Takes Manhattan. Jason Takes Manhattan. Again, I love that they tried to do something different in this installment. And if they'd have been able to do more within the confines of New York City or Manhattan, I think it would have been a much better film. Most of the story takes place on the boat, which has some great points to it and has some points where you're like, well, that's kind of dumb. But, if they'd have done more in New York City, this movie would be much lower on the list. Or higher on the list. Number 10 is Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. Now, I've watched this movie in 2D and in 3D on my television. I'm not overly excited about it. Again, it's number 10 on the list for a reason. It's fun. Some of the 3D is good, and then some of the 3D is like, oh, it didn't work. In this movie, I have a hard time with the timeline because if you listen to the people who were in the movie, Friday the 13th Part 3 actually takes place on Saturday the 14th, like the next day after the events of Part 2, which I don't believe that too much. I think it takes place like a year later. That's just my opinion because Jason does look so different. I mean, where did Jason have time to take a haircut or to get a haircut? Because at the end of Part 2, he's got long brown hair, brownish red hair. And in Part 3, he's bald. That's why I think it takes place later. Anyways, that is my thoughts on number 10, Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. Number 9 is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. We all knew it wasn't the final chapter. I like the movie. It introduces Jason's biggest rival at this point, Tommy Jarvis. Tommy Jarvis. Sorry, I'm hyped up on cold medicine. Actually, they're nasal pills. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. I really enjoyed this movie. The kills are really cool in this. I like the way that they, quote-unquote, killed Jason at the end. And they brought Tom Savini back to kill Jason, who helped create Jason in Part 1. Number 8 is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. Excuse me. I absolutely love this movie. And I know many will say that it doesn't have Jason in it, and that's fine. The reason I love this movie is because I think it has the coolest death in all of Friday the 13th, or one of the coolest deaths. We'll get into that with another video of the top 10 deaths in Friday the 13th history. Anyways, getting back to this video, Tina with the clipper through the eyes, I think, is one of the coolest deaths in horror history. Actually did an interview with the lovely Deborah Voorhees, which you can find on my website, wickedcarnivalproductions.com. Wicked Carnival Productions is the name of my production company. It's a print interview, so you can read it. We talk about Friday, and we talk about her movie career and her TV career, and the fact that she wrote for a Texas-based newspaper for a long time. So yeah, check that out on the website, wickedcarnivalproductions.com. Number 7, moving on with the countdown, is Freddy vs. Jason. I do love this movie. I love all of these movies, and it's really hard for me to sit here and rank them. But a lot of people ask me, well, do you rank this movie above that movie? What do you think about this movie in terms of where it fits in the top? Whatever. So this is why I'm doing the ranking videos, to answer these questions and get them all out on the channel as quickly as possible. So Freddy vs. Jason is number 7. I think without Kane Hodder, this movie suffers. Ken Kirzinger, is that how you say his name? Kirzinger? Wasn't a terrible Jason, but without Kane Hodder against Robert Englund, it doesn't have that big fight feel, which they were trying to portray. I mean, we've been talking about this movie for a decade before it happened, more than a decade before it happened. I can remember arguing with my friends as kids on the playground. Oh, Jason would kick Freddy's ass. Oh, no, Freddy would kick Jason's ass. No. Jason would kick Freddy's ass. And you know, that big fight was all we really wanted in this movie. And not that we didn't get it, but we got an ambiguous ending. Which, in my opinion, Jason won. Period. Done. I didn't want to hear about it. It was a dream and Freddy winked and all that. Jason kicked his ass. Done. Number 6 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. Carrie versus Jason. This was a great concept. I really thought this was an interesting way to go and a way to take the series in the 7th installment in the series. They, at this point, I think, started to realize that they needed to do something different. And we all see what happened in 8, 9, and 10. Anyways, getting back to the reason I like this movie at number 6. I really think they delivered on the concept of this movie, and the battle between Tina and Jason was great. The movie has my favorite Jason stunt in this movie, in this series, and that was when Jason takes the lamp to the face and then falls through the stairs. That was amazing. Number 5, Friday the 13th, Part 2. Now, many of you know this is not the first time I've ranked the Friday the 13th series, and Friday the 13th Part 2 usually falls in the number 2 spot. But I've had a recent change of heart, and that is why number 5 is Friday the 13th Part 2. This is the introduction of Jason as the killer. Yes, I know that Jason appears in the closing moments of the original Friday the 13th film, but this is the first one where Jason's the killer. I think this movie left a lot to the imagination with the Where's Paul at the end, how much is a dream, how much actually happened at the end of that movie. I think it's a brilliant way to lead into a part 3, because you knew there was going to be a part 3 at this point. Because, I mean, slashers in the 80s didn't know when to stop, to their credit and to their detriment in a lot of ways. Number 4 is Jason X. This will probably shock a lot of people. I love Jason X. I think it's a great concept. I think they delivered on that concept. Jason in space works a hell of a lot better than Leprechaun in space, in my opinion. I don't even think I've sat all the way through Leprechaun in space. But Jason X kicked ass. The kills were great. Some of the kills in this movie were awesome. excuse me. I really think Dallas, who was played by Todd Farmer, I knew I'd think of it if I took a second, who actually wrote the script, was an awesome kill. He actually broke his nose fighting with Jason. Excuse me. I like the fact that they took this away from Camp Crystal Lake for the first time, even though they brought it back in the simulator, which I thought was amazing. A great little plot device within the movie. Number 3 is Friday the 13th, 2009. I enjoy the fact that they took elements of the first 4 films and brought them into one film and built on that. The kills were on point in this movie. There isn't one kill that I'm like, oh, that's so dumb. I have to say I was really upset when Jenna died, when she got that machete through the chest and then he pulled it out and she just died right there. She was played by the amazing Danielle Panabaker, who she's a phenomenal actress. You can see her on The Flash on the CW as Caitlin Snow. Danielle's an amazing actress, and I could really see her having a career in horror films. She plays that character very well. Number 2 on my list is Jason Lives Friday the 13th, Part 6. C.J. Graham playing Jason was amazing. Just absolutely incredible. I love the way that he stalks his victims in this movie, and it's just awesome. The kills were right on the level. They were great. This is my favorite sequel in the entire series. Obviously, it's number 2 on my list, which means number 1, no shock to anybody, is Friday the 13th, the original. Excuse me. If you haven't noticed by now, in these ranking videos, I rarely put anything above the original. Excuse me. I never put anything at number 1 other than the original film in the series. Because I am old school, I do love Friday the 13th. I do love Halloween. I do love A Nightmare on Elm Street. And I do love Scream. And I love the original Child's Play. I don't really talk about Child's Play much, but I do love Child's Play. Friday the 13th is number 1 on this list because it's the first movie. It sets the tone for the rest of the series in a lot of ways. And Betsy Palmer as the killer, nobody would have ever suspected that. I didn't the first time I ever saw it, to be honest. I loved the reveal at the end. I thought it was perfect. I thought it was well written. Victor Miller did an amazing job writing this screenplay. And of course, everybody knows it's a rip on Halloween. Sean S. Cunningham will tell you that. He said that multiple times on a lot of documentaries and stuff, that Friday the 13th is a direct cash-in on the success of John Carpenter's Halloween, which I can't fault them for that. So that is my ranking of the Friday the 13th franchise. You can feel free to reach out to me by email, themainmorgue@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter @themainmorgue. You can check me out on Instagram/themainmorgue, Facebook.com/themainmorgue. Feel free to reach out, comment below. I will try to get to as many comments as I can, and emails and all that stuff. If you have a subject that you would like me to discuss here on the show, drop me an email, drop me a comment, and I will try to do a video in the future. At some point, I'm going to start doing a Q&A, so you can send in your questions and I'll answer them. Probably when I get about 10, 15 questions, I'll do the first one. So if you want my opinion on anything in horror or superheroes, or I love action movies and sci-fi, anything. If there's anything you want me to do a video on, let me know. I'm actually going to open up the main morgue to different things. I'm a huge professional wrestling fan. So I might start talking about professional wrestling once a week if I can get some people to watch the show and comment. And I love interacting with fans of all genres, not just horror. So there you have it, folks. There will be a little block at the end here with all my contact information, even though I just gave it to you. Thanks for watching. Take care, everybody. Until next time, I'll see you later.